When restaurants have their tables pushed outside onto the sidewalk and their guests are eating at the table, I can't get through, not with myself nor with my assistant's dog. So I have to ask everyone, please move, please help me out. They get up, they push the table back, and it's just an uncomfortable situation for myself and for them. They're trying to have a nice evening dinner outside, they're enjoying themselves, except when they have to stop for people like myself that can't get through.
Were there times during our walk where you were really having trouble working your way between the tables?
Yes, I much rather prefer to be in the street than down on the sidewalk. It was constantly zigzagging back and forth around tables and chairs.
Now
Can you get through okay?
You've had this experience not just tonight.
Yes.
How often does this happen?
Normally on the weekends when it's a little bit more crowded down here, and I am out and socialize with a lot of the restaurants all the time, and it's an uncomfortable feeling.
And do you sometimes say something to the manager?
I do. On occasion, if there's problems, especially in their restroom facilities, there's been chairs stacked up against that. I can't even get into the restroom. And trying to get through, their restaurants even are very crowded.
But when you tell them, what's usually the reaction?
We'll take care of it. We'll make provisions.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But not every, I don't go back always to double check, but a lot of times I do.
Widths that are less than half of what's required, what the city is in the city code. The city code states that it should be 44 inches or whatever the ADA says, whichever is greater. And this right here is 28 inches width.
Now you said that you've sometimes complained to the restaurants. What do they say?
Well, usually if I can mention it to the manager, they'll say okay, and they'll go move something. I think it's a matter of education. They need to be aware, and that the city should take the responsibility to educate these restaurant owners on what they should be doing, and the managers.
Have you ever talked to a guy and he fixes it, and then 3 weeks later?
Yes.
That's it.
I have. I've talked to several people, several places, and mentioned that their signs were not in the way, they weren't in the right place, in their tables, and they go and correct it, and next time I come, it's back the way it is.
And tell us about your experiences with the city.
I complained to this, or I reported to the city about 4 years ago, Pizza Girls, and stating that that whole block just doesn't seem conducive to having tables. It's just too narrow, the sidewalk. And they said that they're in compliance, and I said, well, they're out of compliance when no one is, when I've seen it, they would look into it, and nothing's happened. I actually had to help an individual that was in a wheelchair off of the sidewalk, onto the street, and back up onto the sidewalk, going around some tables and one of these signs down the way. It was Roxy's, and that was a while ago, and I just had enough.
After you wrote the letter to the editor, did anybody from the city call you?
No one's called from the city. No response. I had some responses from other citizens had contacted me and said that they had those concerns as well. So it's a big issue. 20% of individuals in our community and it's estimated 20% are disabled.
So in exchange for being allowed to operate on public sidewalks, you have to be accessible to the public.
Exactly.
All of it.
Yep, exactly. And that's not what's happening.